This is a Breaking Now alert from Heartland News.
In a matter of minutes, the man who shot and killed a Missouri State Highway Patrol trooper 20 years ago in southeast Missouri will be killed by lethal injection. Lance Shockley is scheduled to be put to death at 6 o'clock tonight at the state prison in Bonne Terre for the murder of Sergeant Carl Graham Jr. back in 2005. Good evening, everyone. While anti-death penalty advocates are hoping to stop the execution from going forward, the state is prepared to carry out Shockley's sentence at any moment. Crystal Britt is live in Bonne Terre right now where the execution is scheduled to happen. Crystal?
Jeff, good evening. Well, despite protest, also pleas to the governor and a last-hour petition to the U.S. Supreme Court, Lance Shockley is still scheduled to be executed at the death chamber here in Bonne Terre at any moment now. We also have a live look now where you can see some of the protests that I'm talking about. There's a group of a couple of dozen or so people who have gathered here outside of the prison to pray and offer support as they are hoping that something would change in this particular situation. Well, the Department of Corrections did move Shockley from the prison in Potosi to here in Bonne Terre after Governor Kehoe denied Shockley's clemency petition. Shockley, who is 48 now, was convicted of shooting to death State Trooper Sergeant Carl Dwayne Graham Jr. back in 2005. Graham was right outside of his home in Van Buren when he was shot multiple times. Shockley became a suspect right away as Graham was investigating him in a deadly drunk driving crash. Shockley has maintained his innocence for the last 20 years. His attorneys have argued that their client didn't get a fair trial or sentence. They also argue that the state failed to conduct vital DNA evidence. Well, a jury convicted Shockley in 2009 but couldn't agree on a sentence. Because of that deadlock, a judge made the decision to sentence him to death, and that day has now come. So 2 decades after Sergeant Graham's death, the man convicted of his murder is set to be executed at any moment. And as soon as we hear that that has been carried out, we will let you know. Reporting live in Bonne Terre, Crystal Britt, Heartland News.
All right, Crystal, thank you. Meanwhile, protesters are fighting until the last second, they say, in hopes of stopping the execution. Demonstrations are planned all across the state right up until we hear from Bonne Terre if the execution takes place. Shockley's request for clemency, but protesters have been actively trying to change his mind through petitions and demonstrations. The governor shared his reasoning for denying clemency and response to the protests.
Folks in our state need to know that when you take someone's life, it's serious, but when you take someone who is a public safety member, a law enforcement officer, we just won't allow that here in the state of Missouri.
We don't memorialize Sergeant Graham by killing Lance Shockley.
Set again to be the 102nd execution in Missouri and first since Kehoe took office. We'll continue to watch what's happening in Bonne Terre. We'll bring you the latest information when it comes into the newsroom, and we'll check back in with Crystal a little bit later in the newscast.